Every decision you've ever made has shaped the person you are today. Some you look back on proudly, others you might wish had gone differently. But here's the question. What if regret wasn't necessary at all? What if you could make choices with such clarity and strength that even mistakes became valuable? This is how Stoics approach life. They didn't escape uncertainty, they mastered it. In the modern world, decision-making feels heavier than ever. Choosing a career path, a relationship, or even whether to take a risk in business, it can feel paralyzing. Social media amplifies this anxiety. We see people who seem to have chosen perfectly, and we fear choosing wrong. But the Stoics had a radically different way of approaching choices. They believed that regret wasn't about the outcome. It was about how you approach the decision itself. If your values guided you, if your reason was clear, then whatever followed was acceptable. Because your peace of mind never depended on the result. It depended on your integrity. Conviction doesn't mean arrogance, it means clarity. When Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that a man must rise each day to do his duty as a human being, he was reminding himself that life moves forward only through action. Stoics don't sit in endless hesitation. They reflect, they weigh what is within their control, and then they move forward decisively. In our lives, conviction might mean choosing a path without waiting for everyone's approval. It might mean taking responsibility for a project, or ending a relationship that no longer aligns with your principles. Conviction doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees dignity. Most people fear mistakes because they believe mistakes define them, but Stoics saw them as inevitable companions on the road to wisdom. Epictetus reminded his students that you can't control everything, only your response. So, when you make a decision that doesn't go as planned, the Stoic doesn't say, "I failed." They say, "I learned." This perspective frees you, because regret thrives in the illusion that you should have done otherwise. But if you acted with your best reasoning and the outcome taught you something, then there is no loss, only progress. Think about how many people freeze, unwilling to act, because they're terrified of failing. The Stoic fails forward. Every decision has weight. Some bring rewards, others bring suffering. The Stoic doesn't try to escape this. They accept responsibility completely. Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." When you accept consequences, even painful ones, you grow resilient. Imagine taking a risk that doesn't work out. Losing money, losing time, maybe even losing trust. The ordinary mind collapses under that pressure. But the Stoic mindset sees the consequence as the natural price of choice. By embracing it, they free themselves from bitterness. Regret only appears when you deny the reality of what followed. Stress is the invisible enemy of clear decisions. Anxiety convinces us to delay, to avoid, to obsess over what-ifs. But the Stoic prepares their mind for storms before they arrive. They practice imagining difficulties so that when stress hits, it doesn't paralyze them. Marcus Aurelius wrote about expecting betrayal, loss, and hardship each morning. Not to be cynical, but to be unshaken when reality delivered them. In your life, this means making decisions even when the pressure is high, because you've already rehearsed how to endure setbacks. Anxiety is natural, but Stoics don't let it hold the steering wheel. Every important decision happens in a fog of uncertainty. Should I take this opportunity? Should I end this chapter? The truth is, you never know with absolute certainty. And this is where emotion can mislead us. Fear whispers worst-case scenarios. Desire paints illusions of perfection. Anger pushes us into reckless choices. But Stoics practiced observing emotions without becoming enslaved to them. You acknowledge fear, but you don't bow to it. You recognize excitement, but you test it against reason. This balance between emotion and reason creates decisions you can stand behind, regardless of the outcome. Preparation doesn't guarantee success, but it prevents regret. Stoics believed in rehearsing adversity. Seneca often wrote about poverty, exile, even death. Not to obsess, but to remind himself that he could endure them. If you prepare your mind for the worst, then no outcome can shatter you. Imagine preparing before making a life-changing decision. You've thought through risks, anticipated challenges, accepted losses, and still chosen to act. When results arrive, whether fortune or hardship, you're steady. Most regret comes from saying, "I wasn't ready." The Stoic rarely says that because they live in readiness. For Stoics, decisions weren't about success or failure, they were about character. Every choice is a chance to align with virtue, courage, justice, wisdom, self-discipline. When you choose based on these principles, you eliminate regret, because your decision wasn't about outcome. It was about who you are becoming. The modern world often pushes us to decide based on profit and status or appearance. But these lead to emptiness. Character-driven choices create stability and meaning, even if they come with sacrifice. Perhaps the most liberating part of Stoic decision-making is that they don't live for the approval of others. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that the crowd's opinion is fleeting. If you chase applause, you'll regret every decision that doesn't win it. The Stoic chooses according to principle, not popularity. This is why their lives appear calm, even under criticism. They know validation is borrowed, but integrity is owned. To make decisions without regret, you don't need certainty. You need clarity. You need conviction in action, acceptance of consequences, emotional balance, preparation for adversity, and the courage to act by principle, not popularity. This is the Stoic path, and while it doesn't promise perfection, it promises something greater: peace of mind.